everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is my podcast, Up in the Clouds. How is everyone doing? I missed you guys. I have been, obviously I'm always super transparent with you guys, so I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety. As you guys know, I started a new job, and it's just very different. Like, it's not necessarily bad anxiety, it's just anxiety of change and getting used to a new routine and getting used to new people and a new environment. And it's not, like I said, it's not necessarily like a bad anxiety, it's just different. And so I've been kind of dealing with that and learning how to manage that. Obviously, I have been doing super well when it comes to anxiety, so I'm just kind of going through everything and trying to not necessarily remember, but trying to relearn my patterns and noticing when I'm anxious and sort of how to handle that in a more healthier way than I used to. So yeah, I've just been kind of focusing on myself and just doing a lot of things to raise my own vibration. And that's kind of why I took a week off last week, because I just felt so uncomfortable like recording. I tried to go in front of a camera, I just felt weird. And so I just felt like, okay, I just need to take that time for myself and just take a week for me and, do whatever I needed to do. So yeah, we're back and we're better. Obviously I'm still, it's hard. Like, it's it's a lot, being like kind of changing your whole life and routine, and it can be exhausting, it can be really hard, but it's also super important and it's super good for growth. So I'm just kind of keeping those things in mind, that this is all for good and whatever. Other than that, it's my birthday week. So my birthday's on Thursday, the 29th. So I'm super, super excited about that. So I'm trying to push away all this anxiousness mess, because I just want to have a good week and I want to have a good birthday and then a good birthday weekend. Celebrated with some people this weekend that I'm not going to see next weekend for my birthday. So celebrated with some of my friends this past weekend, and it was really fun. One of my friends DJ'd, so that was a lot of fun. And then next weekend have some people coming. It's a big, it's gonna be nice out, so everyone's gonna be day drinking and stuff, and it's just gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm really excited. So happy B-Day week to me. I think I'm gonna love my birthday no matter how old I get. Like, some people are like, oh, just wait a few years, you'll hate your birthday. But I don't think I'm ever gonna be one of those people, because I love birthdays in general. I love when it's my friends' birthdays. I love family birthdays, my birthday. I just don't think I'll ever hate my own birthday, because I just will never hate birthdays in general. Yeah, so super exciting stuff. What else? I've also been working on a lot of cool things. I am keeping it under wraps for now, but I'm really excited for the future of expanding Up in the Clouds and sort of the brand. I got a lot of ideas in my mind, and yeah, I'm really excited for that. Okay, so let's get into the episode. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about it's obviously out with the old, in with the new is the title of the episode. So what that kind of means is letting go of your old story, or your past and your traumas and things, to make room for that new story that you're trying to create. Make room for those new things that you want to manifest into your life. Make room for that new reality. Make room for that higher self. When you hold on to those traumas, to those triggers, to that negative energy, you keep in your lower self. And you're never going to fully become that higher version of yourself if you're holding on to those past things. So how do we do this? The easiest way to kind of ease into it, I think, is through shadow work. So obviously you guys know I use this podcast a lot as my sort of shadow work. And I also am starting to get into journaling, because talking about it brings up, in my last season when I was unloading everything, it brings up a lot of memories, and it brings up a lot of trauma, and it brings up a lot of emotions that I went through when I was going through those things. So I have to properly heal from those, bringing those up and bringing those feelings back into fruition, instead of ignoring them and pushing them away, which is what I did for so long until I started doing this. So shadow work, I would consider, if you don't know, like we have a shadow self, which I don't really know. Everybody kind of believes something different. What I believe our shadow selves are is the shadow inside of us that holds on to our deepest pain, our deepest traumas, our deepest fears, our deepest everything dark about us. I think belongs to our shadow self. So when you're going through this journey of healing and you're trying to become a manifester and trying to live the life of your dreams, it's very important to nurture that shadow self, to acknowledge the things that we've been through and acknowledge the pain, acknowledge the traumas, and learning to shift that victim mentality of why did this happen to me, blah, 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 into being grateful for that experience. So a good example I always kind of think of is Ariana Grande's Thank You Next. She talks about being grateful for her ex, and the lessons that they taught her, even though, maybe it wasn't necessarily like a good, and whatever, it's not, instead of being like, F my ex, like it's being grateful for that lesson, it's being grateful for that experience, because everything we go through is for a reason, and everything we go through builds our character, and what we choose to do with what we go through is our choice. You can have a shitty childhood and a shitty life and choose to use that for good and use your story to help others, or you could choose that and keep in that victim mentality of the universe hates me, the universe is picking on me, I'm just a deadbeat, all these bad things happen to me because I'm a bad person, and that's not necessarily true. We go through things to teach us things, and we go through things to sometimes have that experience to be able to relate to others, because down the road we could meet somebody who's gone through a similar experience, and maybe our experience is going to be able to help them. Like a few months ago, I met this girl who had recently lost her best friend, and we sort of connected because I was 4 years in and she was a few months in. So we connected in that way where I could kind of help her because I was a little bit more healed than she was, obviously, because it was very more fresh. So I feel like, and obviously losing a best friend is not something that you would ever want to go through. But when you are able to connect with people and make that connection and be there for somebody in a way that you necessarily didn't ever realize that you were going to be able to do, it's sort of a cool experience, and sort of teaches you wow, everything really does happen for a reason. We connect, the universe brings and connects us with people that we're supposed to, and especially when you're at the highest vibration and the highest version of yourself, it's going to bring you high vibe people, and it's going to keep those high vibrational people into your life, and you're going to become a magnet to those people that are just going to bring good into your life, instead of being a magnet to those lower vibrational people who are just going to bring toxicity, bad vibes, or just any kind of negativity into your life. When you're at the higher self and you're magnetizing good, you're going to magnetize good things, good people, kind of thing. So how do we start with shadow work? So obviously the first kind of prompts that I was working on is sort of I'll just kind of read and go into depth with them. So the first question that you can journal about, even think about, type it in your notepad on your phone. What am I addicted to? How have I been distracting myself from my life? It could be with addiction. It could be, what am I distracting myself from and why? So addiction can be anything that is affecting your life negatively. So drugs, alcohol, all of it is not really drugs, but alcohol is can be good in moderation. Obviously, there's a lot of spiritual people that don't really believe that alcohol, they should, everyone should not be drinking alcohol, because it's a very lower vibrational, it's a depressant. It literally depresses your self, your emotions, and basically sometimes you do things when you're blacked out and you're I would never do that sober. That's the kind of thing a lot of spiritual people talk about, is how negatively alcohol affects us. I personally, it's my age group, it's my friend group, big drinkers. I don't necessarily think I would give up alcohol anytime soon. I just kind of learned how to not use it for negative reasons, which I definitely have been in that in the past, using it negatively. So I've definitely come from that. So you can definitely come from using it in a negative way to suppress emotions, to suppress feelings, to suppress anything you're going through, to being able to enjoy it and not use it for those reasons, if that makes sense. So what am I addicted to that is affecting me negatively, and how am I using it to distract myself? So sort of thinking about all the, people sometimes use addictions to hide the things that they're dealing with. So it's like, what am I distracting myself from, and why? Like, why do I feel like I need to use drugs, drinking, gambling, porn, anything negative that's a lower vibrational thing? Why am I using that what am I distracting myself from in real life? Basically. So that's a good one to start with, because that's kind of going to open up those doors for you, kind of make you realize, like, maybe you didn't realize you had an addiction to something. Or I mean, sometimes weed can be used negatively too. I've definitely seen that. So it's always just everything in moderation, people. That's just like the importance. What toxic people should I distance myself from? So when I first started this journey and I was doing this inner work, the inner shadow work, I realized I had a lot of negative people around me, and that was keeping me in a lower vibration. It was keeping me in that insecurity. It was keeping me in that negative lower self, because they were walking all over me. They were treating me how they wanted to be treated. I was bending over backwards for them, and they would never do anything for me. Or they were just like people, relationships that were controlling, or things like emotionally manipulating, like things like that. So it's like, when I really started to do that inner work, I sort of kind of not push people away, but I definitely went into a deep inner circle and didn't really talk to a lot of people, because I was just sort of trying to not test people, but I was just trying to take that time away that I needed from people to kind of see who was actually a real friend, and who really cared about me as a person, and not me as a party girl, or me as because when you're somebody that likes to partake in drinking a lot, you get this reputation, which is not necessarily some people view it negatively, but obviously a lot, and I realized a lot of people only wanted to be friends with me for that aspect, for the people that I knew, or just because I always was down for a good time. And they weren't really my friends. They didn't really care about me to the core. They didn't really give a shit about me in general, if I was alive or dead. And I just had a huge awakening, and I just sort of shut everybody out for a few weeks, a month. I can't even remember. It was a while ago. It was at the end of the summer last year. So yeah, it's just super important to kind of recognize when people are affecting you negatively. I mean, the word toxic sounds so harsh, but I don't mean it in a harsh way. It's just if they're affecting you negatively, if somebody's bringing negativity into your life and causing you stress, causing you anxiety, that's not necessarily somebody that you want to keep into your life, What lessons do I still need to learn? So am I still victimizing myself? Am I still blaming other people for things that have happened to me? When you kind of shift that blame away and you really forgive people, that's when your life kind of shifts. I feel like it kind of shifts a energetic shift, when you're not holding on to that anger, that guilt, that even if you hurt somebody, you're still holding on to guilt, which is a negative. That's one of the lowest vibrational feelings that you can feel on the vibrational scale. So it's even guilt is something that we need to learn to forgive ourselves. We need to learn to forgive others, because when you're holding on to that anger, that guilt, that sadness, that heartbreak, that pain, it's just keeping you so low vibrational that you're not going to flourish, basically. So what lessons do I need to learn regarding letting go, forgiveness, healing, things like that? what are my deepest fears? So this one, when I really like looked into myself and really took that inner work, you sort of realize you have a lot of like subconscious fears that you had no idea existed. So if you're somebody who doesn't commit in relationships, more than likely you have a fear of abandonment. You have a fear of, I've met a lot of people that were afraid to commit in relationships because they were cheated on in the past. So a fear of maybe your partner being unloyal to you and having to deal with that heartbreak again. So you could be fear of abandonment, so that could go, I guess that could go hand in hand with abandonment because they'd be abandoning you by cheating on you, I guess. Or you just be afraid of being like hurt again, cheated on. Sometimes, you've been in a, like me personally, like I was afraid of relationship for a very long time because of my abusive relationship. So I just thought that every guy was like that and every guy was going to be abusive to me and mess me up basically. And I had to sort of let that go because holding on to that, I was attracting, manipulating, I have never been in another physically abusive relationship, but I've definitely been in emotionally abusive relationships after that one. So I was attracting emotionally abusive relationships and people and situations into my life because I was holding on to that idea, that that concept. So that was like a fear of mine. It ended up being like a fear. If you have a fear of change, more than likely you're going to be in, keep yourself in a situation you don't want to be in, like a job, like a city, a state, where you live. If you have a fear of change, you're not going to go outside that box. You're not going to step into that scaredness of change because you are afraid of it. So when we recognize our deepest fears, like our subconscious deepest fears, not just I'm afraid of the dark or I'm afraid of this, obviously it's I'm talking those deeper, subconscious fears that we hold on to. Obviously losing my best friend, I went through a phase where I was so afraid to get close to people because when your number one person is just taken from you, I had a fear that of anybody I got close to, I was going to lose. So that was something I had to really learn how to let go of that, because I was shutting myself out and I was keeping myself from having friendships with people or getting too close to people and letting people know me because I was so afraid of that. And that's so unhealthy because obviously our connections we have with people make us and shape us and uplift us, especially when they're positive compared to negative, obviously. So sort of when you take that time to recognize what your deepest fears are, that's the first step of letting go, the first step of moving on from those things, to stepping into that higher self is recognizing what is keeping me in that lower self. So, stuff like, what are your fears? And then this one, am I a victim to my trauma and have I done enough to heal? So victimizing your trauma, saying I'm never going to get married because my parents went through an awful divorce. I'm never going to be in another relationship because I got cheated on, or I'm never going to be in another relationship because I was abused, or I'm never going to move because whatever, you know what I'm saying? Am I victimizing myself to my trauma because I'm holding on to that? And it's just it's not healthy because obviously I've said it 1,000 times in this episode, we're just keeping that in our lower selves by victimizing to our trauma. We're giving in to those lower vibrational feelings. Therefore, we're keeping ourselves in a lower vibration. So healing and not victimizing yourself to your traumas anymore, just really letting go of that old story, letting go of that you're afraid of relationships because of your past, or letting go that you're afraid of change, which is therefore keeping you in a situation that no longer serves you, or a job that no longer serves you. Obviously going through my awakening, I realized that I don't want to work this like 9 to 5 life, this work until you basically burn yourself like alive and basically burn yourself completely out. And that's why I've been coming up with all these ideas to sort of try to expand the brand of Up in the Clouds, so that eventually that this can be a full-time thing for me, and this will be a full-time thing for me because I'm putting in the work and I'm putting in the energy and I truly believe in it. It's going to happen. And that's the biggest thing. And and like a lot of people are fine with that 9 to 5 life, but don't stay in a situation that doesn't serve you. If you're not happy at your job, don't stay there because you feel like you have to. Take that leap of faith in yourself that there is something better for you, and believe that you are worthy of something better, because if you don't believe in it, it's not going to come to you. It's going to, like, you have to truly believe that you are worth that better paying job, that higher salary, the better hours, the better whatever. If you don't believe you're worthy, then it's not going to come to you. And that's with anything. If you're trying to be successful in any situation, if you're trying to, win, like, if you don't if you're trying, what am I trying to say? Like, if you don't believe you're worthy, how can you have what you want? Basically, if you don't believe you're worthy of a relationship, then you're going to attract people that don't want relationships, or attract emotionally unavailable people. Or if you're afraid of relationships, you're going to meet the person that you're supposed to be with, but you're not going to energetically be ready for them, and then you have that risk of hurting them or losing them. And obviously everything happens for a reason, and people, if you're meant to be, you will be. But sometimes you're meant to be with somebody and then you're not ready for them, so they find somebody who is ready for them, and then they become soulmates. Like, sometimes, like, we're meant to be with people, and then I feel like if we switch like a life path or take a different route or maybe become a different version of ourselves, then I feel like our soulmate can change. Not necessarily soulmate, because I feel like our friends are soulmates. I mean, like, I feel like at one point you can be meant to be with somebody, but at some point you can also energetically shift yourself and become a different version of yourself, which means that the person that you were meant to be with when you were here is not the person you're meant to be with when you're here, if that makes sense. If you're holding on to negativity about relationships, and you meet the person that you're supposed to be with, but you're not energetically ready for them, and you push them away, then you're going to almost like, they're going to quantum jump into a different version of themselves, because they're going to be healing from the pain and trauma that you brought them. And then they're going to be meant to be with somebody else by the time you figured it out. And that's just unfortunately something that happens, especially I feel like in our lives. And that's just like, when you have to follow your gut, you have to follow your intuition. If you have feelings about somebody that they're supposed to be in your life, follow that, keep that, do anything to keep them into your life, even if they terrify you, even if you're so afraid of getting hurt again or being vulnerable with somebody. Like, you don't want to lose that. So stop victimizing yourself to your trauma. Take your trauma, your pain, your heartbreak, your grief, your loss for what it is, and take it all as a lesson. Everything in our lives is a lesson. Everything we go through is to shape us, to shift that instead of victimizing and feeling like the universe picks on you, because I definitely went through that for a long time. I lived in that mentality, and that's what kept me in that lower, dark, vibrational, suicidal energy, was thinking that I was being picked on by the universe, thinking that all these bad things were happening to me and I couldn't understand why. And when I shifted that, instead of victimizing myself to that and being grateful for these experiences, I realized that everything, every single heartbreak, every single grief, like loss, every single trauma, everything has all brought me here so that I can help other people deal with their things. And now I've, realized my life purpose, what I want to do with my life, and like with the coaching stuff and this, and it's just all for a reason. So when you really shift that, instead of the victim mentality, and shift it into a positive mentality, it just sort of gets you into that vibration to manifest the life that you want, you desire, and the life that you're supposed to be living. So that's a super important subject. Those are just some like little prompts. Obviously there's like, once these are just like the generic like prompts, but once you start writing, once you start realizing things, then you can start working on each one of those things. So when I was doing the shadow work and I was opening up this can of worms of this heartbreak, this emotion, this dark feelings, the shadow self that I have, it brought up a lot of emotions and things that I've been suppressing for so long. And it was hard. It's not going to be easy. It's definitely going to be hard, and it's definitely going to be a lot of work, and it's not something for like you should do unless you're truly ready for it, because you're going to bring up those emotions, those feelings from those situations, and it's sort of like learning how to manage that and just being in that strong vibrational headset to handle that. So as you're writing, you're going to realize things about yourself that maybe you had no idea. Maybe you didn't even realize that you were subconsciously afraid of relationships because of abandonment. Maybe you just were always blaming that you are too busy, or it's like a deep rooted thing that you didn't realize was subconsciously affecting you. So then you can go deeper into that. You can, why am I afraid to get close to people? Oh, I'm afraid to get close to people because I like things like that. So like as you're writing these things out, you're going to realize things about yourself, and then you're going to realize what you need to heal from. And therefore you can take that and go even further into it. You guys can probably hear it in my voice, but my allergies have been so awful. And so I've been trying to find like natural remedies, because I can't really take like allergies medication and stuff, because it just makes me super drowsy. So I put like up a story and asked like people, and I've been drinking this like Mullein, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's like mullein leaf tea, and it's supposed to like help with like upper respiratory issues relating to like asthma, allergies, and it's supposed to help like open up your lungs and stuff. So we'll see how well it works. I normally am not a tea drinker, but it doesn't really have like too much of a taste, so I just kind of put some honey in it, and it's really good. So back to, sorry, that was a little sidetrack. I had to go take a breath because I can't breathe. So when you let go of that old story, you're going to make room for that new story. You're going to make room for that person who is worthy of a higher salary, worthy of, that business that you want to create, worthy of that, like the life that you want to live, whatever your dreams are, becoming that, when you're letting go of that old story, that old self, you're going to make room for that new self, that new story. And it's truly life-changing when you do that, because when you're letting go of that old story, you realize how much negativity you were holding on to, and how much that like truly does affect you. And it's amazing. It is like the amount of abundance will come into your life, and how easy it will be for things to come into your life, how easy it will be for whatever you want to come true to manifest easier and easier when you're doing the inner work. Because when you're doing the inner work and when you're healing yourself, the universe will see that and reflect that and see that you're stepping into that vibration of the people. So they'll start giving you like little things to, when I was doing that inner work, that inner whatever, I started to see myself as more worthy. Therefore, I got a better paying job to help me save up so that I can move, so that I can continue like to get in a better environment, a better area, just sort of away from what I want to take that time to get away from, home, and just really find myself. Because I feel like when you move into a new environment, a new state, a new city, you just sort of it is it's crazy because it's challenging, it's it's exciting, it's scary, it's, you know, you learn things about yourself that you probably would have never learned, like staying in a area that you've been in your whole life. Like it's just different when you take that time to get out of that and to learn about yourself and not like, and change and grow. And that's why, you know, I've been like, it's like getting this better paying job that I'm making a lot more money than I would have ever made at my old job is, you know, going to help me to save up a lot quicker. And then I'll be, so that when my lease is up, I can just make that leap and make that jump and go, you know? So because I was doing that work, because I was finding the worthiness within myself, that I was worthy of something better, that I was miserable and that I was worthy. I wasn't an energetic match for that old job anymore because I was vibrating so high. Even though I was miserable, I was convincing myself that there is something better coming, that this is not the end. Like it's going to be okay, like blah, blah, you know. And because I did that and I was just telling myself and be like, we're doing that inner work and sort of finding that worthiness within myself, therefore I got something to help me to get to even like to jump to the next part. So it's like steps, you know? So when you take that, I am worthy, and just like through affirmations, through repetitiveness, through manifesting, the 369 method is super powerful. It's sort of like writing your, you can either like write the thing that you want. So like, say you're trying to like manifest money, like you would write like 3 times like one, like, and you know who actually talks about this a lot, if you want to look more into it, is I think it's Nikolai Tesla. He talks about the super, like the importance of the 369 method and how powerful it is, and he truly believed that it was the key to the universe. You would write what you want 3 times, and then you would write 6 times, okay, I'm just gonna read it to you because I feel like it makes a little bit difference. So like say you want to manifest $1,000. So you'd write down 3 times $1,000. I kind of wrote it out. I didn't like writing numbers. Then 6 times you would write, I am receiving $1,000. So you would write like the intention that I think I'm trying to like word it. Like, so write the thing that you want 3 times, the act of it, and then you would write 9 times, I have received $1,000. Thank you, universe. So that's like, that. So it's like or you could just write it out like $1,000 3 times in the morning, $1,000 6 times in the evening, and then $1,000 9 times, morning, afternoon, and evening. So you could do that. You could like space it out, or you could do it all at once. If you don't like writing, I would not recommend doing it all at once, because it's a lot of writing, especially if you don't like to write. That's crazy. I wrote that like a few months ago, and then I got a ton of money for my tax return that I was not expecting. So I'm telling you, this thing works. So basically, like, say you wanted to move somewhere. So you would pick like your destination and you would write it out. 6, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you'd put the destination 3 times, so wherever you want to manifest to move, and then you would put, I am moving to blank. So then it's like, then you would write that 6 times, and then it's like, and then 9 times you would write, I have moved to blank. It is my dream place. Thank you, universe. And then you would write that 9 times. Trying to think of another example. I guess like money. I feel like money is a super easy thing to practice with manifesting, because believing that you're worth, like if you believe that you're worth like a lot of money, then you can manifest money a lot easier, because a lot of the times, like when it comes to manifesting money, it has like a lot to do with like subconscious beliefs that you have around money. So when you shift those subconscious beliefs, then you can kind of learn how to manifest money a lot quicker. Let's say that you want to be a singer. Okay, so you want to be a singer. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I would say like, yeah, I would be like, you just put like the job that you want. So singer, producer, etc, whatever. So you would write that like 3 times. Then you would write, I am a full-time, or that'd be good. It's, I am signing my first record deal. And then it's like, I have, I have sold out, like a big arena that you want to play at. I've sold out Coachella. I have sold out, the MGM Grand, which is in New York, and I've sold out something big, some big place that you would want, that'd be your dream like place to perform at. And then it's like, I have sold out the MGM Grand, or I have sold out, I'm headlining Coachella, or I have headlined Coachella, things like that. So it's like big dreams. And my recommendation when you're first starting this is don't go too big. Don't write down something that you don't believe can happen. If you don't believe it, it's not going to work. You have to truly believe in it, and truly believe that it's possible, truly believe that you're worthy of it, and truly believe that it can happen. Because obviously I've wrote down like $1 million, I'm receiving $1 million, and I didn't, that number was too big. I didn't believe it. I didn't think that it could happen, therefore it never happened. So it's like, just like believing that it's there. Like, I did this manifestation technique a lot when I was trying to move into a new apartment. I was visualizing, more windows. I was visualizing more space. I was visualizing like a bigger room, and I was just sort of, and then it kind of just like fell into my lap, because I truly believed that I was worthy of a better living situation. I believed that I didn't have to be stuck in, like, my old apartment was like a lot of negative vibes, or a lot of spirits that lived in that building, and it was just really, it was not it was not a good vibrational match. My cat was miserable. I was having nightmares all the time, and it was just really, I wasn't sleeping because of my nightmares, or being afraid to sleep, and it was just such a negative and a low vibrational place. So I was just manifesting my way out of it, and I used the 369 method a lot to sort of build up worthiness around that and around myself to get to that place. So yeah, once you do the shadow work, that's when it becomes easier and easier to manifest things. And that's when like things come easier and easier to you, when you heal those old thought patterns, those old stories, and like let go. It's not necessarily like, I'm completely forgetting something that happened to you. It's just shifting that victimization and sort of shifting it into being grateful for the experience and learning it as growth instead of negative view of it. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, I think that's all for today. If you have any questions regarding shadow work, or maybe need a little bit more assistance, maybe you want some more prompts, maybe you want me to write these out for you that we talked about in the video, please DM me. Also, my email is linked into the description if you don't follow my socials. And yeah, if you want to go more into depth, let me know. We can do that. If you are interested in one-on-one coaching, I'm in the process of getting certified. Please DM me about that, and we can go over that. What else? If you like this video, give a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you like more videos like this, you want me to go more in depth into shadow work, or more in depth about manifestation techniques, or more into my stories of manifestation, or maybe you want to hear ghost stories, anything that like excited you, leave a comment about it. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate, because it really helps. Yeah, that's it for today. Send me good vibes as I go into my birthday week. I'm super excited. Yeah, I love you guys so much. Hope you have a beautiful week, and I will see you guys next week. I love you. Bye.